What is up, everybody? This is part 2 for a video I've done called Are Trading Courses Worth It? Go ahead and watch that first. Otherwise, in this video, I'm going to go over everything I've spent money on. I've spent quite a bit of money on trading education. We're going to go over courses, webinars, private trading rooms, Twitters, all that bullshit that I've spent my money on. So this is everything I've spent my... And we're going to go in a timeline from when I was brand new all the way up to the most recent thing I've purchased. And if you guys want to know what specific things are, because I know there's certain things you guys are more specifically looking for, go into this description and there's going to be a time of what each course is at. So for those of you who constantly ask me about Axia, there's a time slot for when the Axia stuff is going to start. Some of you are asking about the Apteros NADRO stuff. Go to that chapter of the video if you want to jump to it. Otherwise, feel free to sit back and watch the entire fucking thing because I think it's kind of important. So what you guys got to understand is we're going to go over stuff from when I was brand new up until recently. And when I was brand new, there was no experience. So my perception and idea of trading was just like, it didn't fucking exist, right? But as we go through the timeline of stuff, as I gain more experience, my ideology and my outlook of certain things shifts and changes, okay? Same thing with some of my older videos. When you guys leave comments on older videos, it's like, well, you know what? Some of my ideology has changed over time. That's just what happens, right? You fucking grow. You grow as a trader, right? So anyways, some of the early stuff, I can't really give an opinion on, okay? But we're going to go through that anyways. We're going to go through the good, the bad, the ugly of all this stuff. And for those of you who ask me from this point forward, if I've done something and it's not in this list, chances are I probably didn't fucking do it. Otherwise, I would have stuck it in this list of shit that we're going to go over, okay? So let's go back to 2016? 2016-ish, okay? Somewhere's, what's the month before October? September, August, somewhere's in there. I started looking into trading stocks, okay? I had some money at the time. I'm like, let's try day trading stocks. Well, way back when I first looked at day trading, this would be 2012, there was a YouTube channel called Day Trading Rockstar. Here we go. So this guy has existed for a very long time in the trading realm. So I first saw his videos in like 2012? Let's see when he's uploaded. I think he's uploaded, god dang, a long time ago. We'll sort by oldest. Oh yeah, 14 years ago, baby. And consistent uploading as well. So yeah, this guy's been around for some time. So with this guy, I came, when I decided to start getting back or trying to get into trading, I looked at it in 2012. Didn't do nothing. I ended up getting into real estate. I was like, should I do stocks or real estate? Did real estate. And then come 2016, I decided to kind of pivot into trading. And of course, I go back to look at this guy. And lo and behold, he sells stuff, okay? So I went through a lot of his videos on YouTube. And I found a lot of value. And I did learn a lot of things through his videos. I mean, a lot of it didn't make sense. But when you first start consuming trading material, none of it fucking makes sense. So I just kept watching hours and hours of his videos until it just kind of started to make sense. Because the lingo, the way traders talk, it's a foreign language, right? So come October 2016, well, I decided to go ahead and buy his trading room. And what I did was I did a free trial or something, and he's giving out like swing trades. He was giving out swing trades for stocks. That's what originally I wanted. But then I noticed that his main screen was the ES. So, I mean, obviously it's MES at this time, I think. Maybe, maybe not. MES came way later. I think MES came out in 2019. If somebody can correct me, I'm kind of a fucking idiot, so I don't know when MES came out, but it had to have come out at a later time. But anyways, at the time, he was showing ES as the main thing. You can kind of see it here. It looked exactly like that. He uses stochastics, different types of stochastics. So this was my introductory to technical analysis, if you will. So, I mean, he was looking for divergences on the stochastics. The more they aligned, the better. He also had these alerts like Rockbot and some other things. I don't remember what they were called, but these auto alerts to take trades, which honestly, it's like, ugh. When I was on demo, I would take the trades, but most of the time they would go the opposite way, which made no sense to me. So I tried to ask members, why is it doing that? I don't remember the answer. But I didn't really get into the stock trading. I ended up noticing he was trading ES, and that's when I'm like, what is this? It's futures. What is futures? So I started looking in the futures, and I opened my first demo account with something Apex Trader or something. It's not I don't think it's the it's not the so currently there's a Apex Combine or some shit that exists now. I think it's something completely different. This was an actual broker called Apex something or other. They had a 2-week trial for a DOM, so I would keep getting this DOM and keep executing on it like every 2 weeks I would get a new trial or whatever. And I would kind of look at his chart as it was streaming and try to trade off of it or whatever. So, I ended up buying the lifetime subscription. I believe that was $1,200. I'd like to know what I've paid for trading. So we're going to actually pull up a fucking calculator. So let's just call it $1,200 for now. Anyways, this is just for me. So let's go into, how do I feel about it? Well, I did it for a while. And then I started doing more research on YouTube, more technical analysis stuff, because at the time I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I would put on trades and just didn't have stops and hold massive losers and then let it turn around, and then I would take some profits off on demo, and I thought I was the greatest shit ever. But also at the time, I started to get into a relationship with a lady that it went for 5 years, and it ended up in catastrophe. It was a terrible relationship. Hence why I fucking live here now, okay? So, well, the cat's out of the fucking bag. So that became a fucking distraction. Kind of stopped fucking with some trading, you know what I mean? I'm much happier, guys. I just want to let you know, I am fucking happy, alright? So, just keep that in mind. But anyways, so, I was kind of on and off with trading, and then the next thing I got into was I bought this book. Tony Turner. She's a lady. A Beginner's Guide to Short-Term Trading. Wait a second. That's not the one. It was the day trading one. Yeah, this one right here. A Beginner's Guide to Day Trading Online. Started reading that. Oh, and as far as the day trading rockstar stuff goes, let's kind of go back to that. We might as well. Again, I just stopped looking at it. So how do I feel about it? What's my opinion? The good, the dirt, the bad, the dirty? I don't know. Not at this point. I did. So there was a point in time in 2019 where I decided to sit down and trade full time. I did come back to it briefly for a month or two. And then I don't remember what happened. I dropped it, never been back since. So yeah, I still am a member there, I guess. But anyways, back to 2016-ish. And that was about October 2016 when I bought that room. When Donald Trump got elected. So I remember, the markets were all kooky and shit, or something was going on. I don't remember. Actually, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. So, got this fucking book around that time. It costs average book price. So let's say it's $30. right? Let's just say $30. So, it's just kind of a generic book. I mean, it's good for what it is. I mean, it's good to kind of just understand, because she really covers a lot, like internet connection, backup stuff, and charting. And then one thing I noticed in this book, she started talking about volume, and I thought volume was interesting. It was just interesting. She was talking about volume in that book. There was a small chapter on it. So I started doing a lot of research on volume, which leads us to the next thing. And by the way, how do I feel about the book? If you don't know shit, it might be a good place to start. So the next thing is I ended up buying this book called The Trader Book of Volume, The Definitive Guide to Volume Trading by Mark Leibovit. I think this guy's been a talking head on CNBC, BC, or whatever numbers that is. Did I even show you guys what the book? Yeah, my face cut it off. There it is. All right. Now you know. Yeah, this guy, he was on CNB, ABC, DEFG channel or whatever, all of them. So this is a very thick, fat, hard-covered book. This one costs $50. So let's add that in the calculator. So this book is big. And he talks about, volume histograms in it, not volume profiles. He talks about volume histograms and just a shitload of screenshots and case studies of like actual trade examples, which was really good. It was really kind of more of a technical manual, if you will. So you kind of looked at how there might be divergences in the volume histogram. Yes, just the basic volume histogram. And then throughout the book, he starts to introduce other things like technical indicators, like on balance volume, and just other volume-based indicators and how you can overlay them. And then I noticed that he started talking about his own volume indicator somewhere later in the book that he developed, which the book ends up being a sales pitch on his volume indicator, which I definitely ended up buying. Because I'm new, right? I'm fucking new. So I buy what I fucking see. So, yeah. Anyways, was it a good book? Well, I would say, knowing what I know now, I would definitely say I'd pass on that. I'd rather have a book that goes over volume profile than not, so that's a hard pass because I don't use whatever's in that book. So is it bad or anything? No, I don't think so, but let's go to the next thing, his fucking website. Oh boy, here he is, a Leibovit VR newsletter, and here's where you can get it. You can get his indicator on Metastock or TradeStation, which I happen to open up a TradeStation account in 2017. It had to have been 2017. Yes, 2017 is when I opened up my first official brokerage account. So, what happened? Well, I decided to go to this TradeStation thing, and I decided to buy his indicator, which no longer exists. So, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. So, I don't know what happened with his indicators. He definitely, like the Metastock version of it, not that you guys are gonna buy it or anything. I don't even think the fucking Metastock version exists anymore. This is me just seeing if this shit fucking exists. Maybe it does. I guess it does. How much was this? Because I definitely, yeah, it was $100 a month. Let's add that because I think I bought like, I definitely didn't buy a year for it. But I believe I paid 1 month of that. So there you go. So we're up to $1,300 for Fat Cat's education. Could the price have changed? No, I think that's about right. So let's talk about it. Really, I think it's in here, honestly. We're not going to watch the video, but we're going to just go ahead and kind of like make this a bit bigger because I want to just show you what the indicator was. This is it. Literally, it says VR, and it has an up and down arrow, and then you just buy or sell. So, yeah. That's what it did. Yeah. So, the time frames I was looking at, I think, were a little too aggressive. I was looking at 1 minute time frames, because, you know, at the time, I'm hot and heavy. I want to really be in there, right? 1 minute. Gotta see it all. Gotta see all the action. Wow, if past Fat Cat knew what future Fat Cat knew today, he would say, hey, motherfucker, you better fucking not be looking at 1 minute charts. You need to look at 3 seconds, baby, because that's what I do now. 3 seconds! 1 minute's a little too large of a time frame. See, you guys thought that was going to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't really work. It was just not for that time frame, and I don't know how the calculation worked or anything like that, to be honest with you. I think it would trigger after the price is already reversing. And the problem is, on a smaller time frame, it was a little too aggressive. So it was coming in at the worst times. Maybe on a larger time frame for swing trading, it would work. Actually, it fucking says the Leibovit VR 2-day reminds traders to exit their positions after 2 days. So, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I don't fucking know, but it didn't work for me. But I didn't use it right. See, this is how this is going to go. But we're going to get to better shit. So, let's go to the next thing. Which this is all indicators, guys. I told you I was going to go over everything I fucking bought. Yeah, Emini Watch, the better trading indicators. So there was something called sine waves. It was made by John Ehlers. I ended up going through this huge document that I actually printed and put into a folder. I wonder if I still have it. I'll be right back. I do have it! Yes! The predictive indicators by John Ehlers. It's going over all sorts of stuff to get rid of noise. I don't know. It just really looks good. That's for sure. So, yeah. All sorts of stuff on this indicator. Very scientific-y stuff here. Yeah, dude, the mesocycle. So I got into that. This would be about 2017 at this time, right? So, you know, still have TradeStation. This guy at the time offered the indicator for the TradeStation, and it basically has the better sine wave, the better momentum, and the pro-am or whatever. It still seems the same after all of these years. Indicators, of course. This guy's been around for a while. I believe he actually has a YouTube channel. This is the channel right here. I mean, this is kind of what the stuff looks like. You know, it makes these lines. I mean, that's what technical indicators do. And then you buy or sell based off of them. But anyways, yeah, that's his stuff. How did I feel about it? It wasn't really working for me, to be honest with you. So how much did this shit cost? $100 a month. It's still, I think I bought 2 months worth of that. So let's go ahead and add that 2 months worth of that shit right there. So we're up to $1,500 roughly. So yeah, you get all the indicators. I don't remember what platform it is. Yeah, TradeStation. Yep, that's what I had it on. That's the thing. I didn't know shit about the ES Emini. So, you know, I'm still new. I have no fucking clue what's going on. So the good, the bad, and ugly, I don't fucking know. Sorry. For those of you who is looking to want to know if you should buy it or not. It just wasn't really working for me, but at the same time, I have, like, no freaking experience, right? So let's get into the next thing, which is something that I think is actually worth the money. This would be John Grady of No BS Day Trading, baby. Here he is. Woo! Now, when I'm going to click on one of his videos, I mean, they're all old videos, okay? Yeah, they're all old videos and stuff. I found him on accident. There was a interview with Futures.io, and then he was talking about, and I literally thought about quitting at this time. Again, 2017. I ended up scrapping the better indicators and all that other indicator shit. I even overlaid the better indicators with the Mark Leibovit stuff. I just wanted too much, I guess. I don't know. So then I started doing one-tick drills, but on TradeStation, they instantly fill you. I thought I had cracked the Wall Street code. You know, I thought I was going to make tens of millions of dollars. I was looking at private jets and yachts and all sorts of shit to buy because I figured it out and I was making all this money on demo. Well, you know, when I live traded, I'm like, why is this not working? It's because you got to wait in a queue, fat cat. You just didn't fucking know that. This is why I advocate you get a good fucking demo. Okay? Because as soon as one market order hit, you're instantly filled and you just don't get a good feel for it. So I thought about quitting trading and this channel would have never existed, and then you guys wouldn't be watching this or anything and you wouldn't know about nothing. So because of John Grady, you guys should thank him for this. He had an interview I found on accident on YouTube with Futures.io, and he's day trading, you know, with just depths of markets. He talks about how he doesn't use charts, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he was in a proprietary trading environment. All these other chumps I've fucking looked at, and I'm just kidding, they might be nice people, but all these other people I looked at, they ain't no prop traders. John Grady, a prop trader. So, yeah, I started looking into his videos and then his websites and stuff. Do you guys notice anything? Yeah. Notice his Dom looks just like my Dom. Or actually, my Dom looks like his Dom. Okay? So, basically, I went through all this stuff and I copied his depth of market template and never fucking changed it. So all my videos you watch is the same template color. Alright? So, John Grady's spirit lives in the Fat Cats of Wall Street channel. You didn't know it was Fat Cats of Wall Street, did you? Because when you go to the home page, you don't even read the fucking banner, do you? Anyways, let's continue. So, he does have a website. And I bought everything, but not at once. So, I bought the basic course, and at the time, I believe it was $100. So, let's just add it. So, plus 99, I think it was 99 bucks. So, and then I actually, the fuck is that? Don't need that. I actually printed up all the PDF material from his basic course, and I labeled everything. God dang, I was so organized and such a good student at the time. So I spent all this money printing this stuff up. So we're gonna have to add in printing cost. Nah, fuck it. But it was quite a bit of stuff to read, and then he also had videos as well. Now, for the money, The basic course is worth it. So the good, the bad, the ugly, 100% worth it. No complaints. Other than some of the video, I mean, it's going to be older at this point. A lot older. So some of the footage he's using TT, which then he, at some point, uses Jigsaw. So you're not seeing the market orders come in. You're just seeing the limits, so it just looks different. But, Then I ended up spending... How much is the other one? The intermediate course... $174. I swear it was more than that. I think he made his stuff cheaper. I want to say it was $299 or $199. I'm going to say it's $199. It definitely was more at the time. You got a lot more videos in the intermediate course. Again, it's more footage, a lot more material. Totally worth it. Again, like he says, it complements the basic course. Now, I must say it is only DOM trading, which I don't do. So, and it's on bonds, which I don't do. So, if you're getting in the bonds, maybe. But if you want to do ES and you want to get in the volume profile and all that, well, but you're definitely going to learn a thing or two about order flow. That's for sure. Now, bonds is a different beast. They're thicker. If you watch my How to Read a DOM video, I basically had been just done a lot of the John Grady stuff. So therefore, what you're doing is you're seeing the bond markets when I used to trade them. Don't do it anymore. Because John Grady looked at the ESE Mini for inverse correlation at the time. And the ESE Mini was my first love, and it actually moved. I thought bonds were too boring. So I decided to trade ESE Mini live. Well, I was trading bonds live as well. I decided to trade ESE Mini live, and I ended up losing $1,000 in 30 minutes. And then I quit for several fucking months after that and just stopped trading. So yeah, but he also offers, he had webinars, which, 2 weeks of live trading, recording set of webinar primer videos. The primer videos, if I recall right, was fucking hours and hours and hours. Like, God, it had to have been like 30 hours or some ridiculous amount. I don't remember. It was maybe not that much, but it was a shitload of videos. And I don't remember if it was $1,800. I know it wasn't $2,000, so let's just say it was $1,800. So plus $1,849. Adding that to the total so far, we're at $3,700 that I've spent on stuff. But yeah, so so I went through all the primer videos first because that's what he suggested. And then 2 weeks of live trading, usually to noon, and then he would cut it off. Now, the first webinar, I paid for 2 of these. The first webinar, that's how much I loved it. The first webinar was October of 2017. So, for me, it was very important to actually watch another day trader trade live in the moment, and to just be able to ask him questions. He would answer the questions throughout the session. His bonds are slow, probably slower now than they were then. I mean, they definitely had a point in time where they moved, and he was scalping and stuff, and then he would review the trades, and then he would put out videos breaking down the reviews. It just so technical, so dense of information. The bang for the buck, as far as like trading material goes, John Grady, hands down, you're getting a shitload more than what you pay for. That's the way I see it. It is the good, the bad, the ugly, worth it. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. So the problem is, I don't know if he's still doing this. I think he still does them every now and then. When COVID happened, the markets got fucked up and he started trading stocks, and he sent out a huge email to all of his prior students. So he might still be doing this. He says the recordings from the previous futures webinar ran from February 28th to March 11th, 2022. So, I mean, I know at the time he was doing them every quarter, maybe not in the summer times, roughly. So he might still be active. He might still be doing this. There's actually a Chat with Traders episode with John Grady if you want to go listen to that as well. Otherwise, there's plenty of material for free that you can look at with him in it. And if you're interested in bonds and stuff, I definitely recommend going down that path. Now, I don't, again, his material, his basic course and his intermediate, I don't know if it's updated to reflect a current environment. But if he's still doing the webinars and stuff, it's probably worth it. He'll answer all your questions throughout the session until nobody else really has questions, which I really enjoyed. And I mean, just 2 weeks of webinar, for, you know, $1,849 plus all these primer videos. I needed to see that. I needed to see another day trader live trade for real. And, you know, he talked about how he used Jigsaw day trading, bought it, set up my templates just like his. I believe he was giving out his templates in one of the deals, because a bunch of his students were obviously asking. And then he talked about reviewing and recording your sessions, which I immediately made a YouTube channel. Immediately. And it was private, and I was just storing recordings on this channel. And then over time, you know, people started asking me about trading and stuff, so I would make public videos, and that's how this channel existed. It was never meant to be what it is today. Fuck. Who would have thought, right? So this channel was originally for storing recordings, which I suggest all you guys do. I use a recording software called vMix, but you can use OBS for free. Just Google the letters OBS, you know, Oscar, Bravo, Santa Monica. I don't know what the military acronym or whatever for S is. But anyways, and you can just live stream to YouTube for free. I don't really think you need any subscribers to do that. Make it private. And I did what he suggested, and it was by far the best thing ever. And I highly recommend it to you guys. So there are things that I do and say that I preach that is very much John Grady, and my DOM template is very much John Grady, obviously. So it's a very huge inspiration for me. Now, you got to understand it's taken years and years after that to become consistently profitable. And this is a very important lesson I want to share with you guys. Just because you go through a course or some sort of material doesn't mean it was a waste of time. And it doesn't mean it's going to get you consistently profitable. And this is why I fucking preach on this channel that this is hard work. I got that one video on why 90% of day traders fail. Go watch it if you've not seen it. Most traders are lazy and they're not willing to do the work. I also have a new video series where I'm coaching another trader for free because I'd like to do it in the future. Maybe I'm already doing it now. Who knows? If you're watching this later. And we're getting him to do a bunch of work to get consistent. So, I mean, this is a skill-based thing that requires a lot of experience. So was it a waste of, you know, thousands of dollars for his material? No. Just because I wasn't consistent in the first few years doesn't mean I didn't take foundational stuff from him. I mean, I'm pretty decent at reading order flow at this point in time. So, yeah, hands down. And also, reading order flow is definitely not easy. It's tricky. And he talked about how when he was doing prop, he just had to sit there until it started clicking and making sense. And what he does is he reads multiple DOMs at once. Now, he wasn't looking at time and sales when I went through his material. That was a whole nother thing that I learned through S&B Capital, and we'll touch on S&B Capital later. But I started doing time and sales at a later date and time. Get it? Time and sales, later date. Anyways, so time and sales was added at a later point in my trading, and that was very much not John Grady. And again, he wasn't an ES guy, but it's totally worth it. So what happened was I ended up coming back. I don't remember if it was $6.95, but if you are a returning customer, he gives you a smoking deal on the next webinar, which we'll just put $6.95 on here. So I'm at $4,422 so far for what I've spent on education, just so you know. So I think it was a different price, but I mean, he gives you a smoking deal because you got to understand there's a shitload of primer videos and it's hours and hours, and you don't really need to rebuy those. And I mean, he's such a stand-up guy that he's willing to give you guys a discount for coming back, and a really good discount at that. So also another interesting thing is if you go to his channel, he does have interviews with some of his prior students. I don't know if he has it. Podcast interview. He used to at one point. Yeah, here you go. This one right here. Oh, that's only 4 years old. Wow. Okay, he might have more stuff with students. I might listen to those. But yeah, so he has these interviews with some students who became profitable through his material, and they're definitely worth a listen. I listened to one, and it was very interesting. And he's a real trader. Like, he talks about real trading, and you're seeing it happen. And it's just, there's no smoke and mirrors or nothing. It's just, it's like legitimate stuff. And for me, I guess I was #blessed to find John Grady. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. This channel wouldn't exist. And I know this channel has helped some of you guys. So, and my community, I've grown through Discord. So, I mean, John, you know, if Mike Bellafury over there's my dad, John Grady is definitely my grandpa. So, guys, you know, the family tree is growing here. You guys are starting to see the heritage of Fat Cat and who, you know, what my ancestry is at this fucking point. So thank you, Grandpa John Grady, even though you might be younger than Mike Bellafury, you know, I don't know how that worked. Weird shit happened to make that the family tree work that way. So anyways, so yeah, I ended up doing a second round of webinars. So at first I did it in October 2017, got a little experience under my belt. February 2018, only a couple months later, signed up for the next webinar. That's why I added that extra $600 that we just did. And when I signed up for that next webinar, having actually been practicing, recording, reviewing, setting up stuff, actually give me a minute. Okay, guys, this is my channel. So what's interesting is if you go to my oldest videos, this was January 15th. So this is me, like, literally doing what John Grady did. At the time, you know, you had the ZN, ZB, UB, ZF, and ES inverse correlation. I was trading the ZN at the time. This is January 15th. So this is before I actually did the second round of webinars. And then this was February 25th, 2018. And I believe this is when I started learning how to kind of like journal and do all that weird stuff. I started with spreadsheets. So this is my first introductory to being technical. So right around this February 25th, this is like right when I finished that second round of webinars. So between like this video up here and some of these other videos right here, this one right here, yeah, March 3rd, 2018. Yeah, so somewhere in these first few videos is when I went from the first round of webinar to the second round of webinar. I wish I still had my original video, the very first public one. But I deleted it. I talk about how this channel is just for recording and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just sharing. Stupid. But yeah, it just goes to show you what happens when you just put in the work and keep doing this and don't give up. But so yeah, right around that time, and I'm gonna leave those videos up, even though they're really, you really don't need to watch them. It's just kind of historical shit at this point. So it was funny because in February 2018, we actually had a market meltdown. John Grady was calling it out and talking about it and how much money you can make, and he was really calling it out before it even happened. So it was awesome just to kind of see a webinar when things were shifting. Now, the webinar was sort of ending right when things started getting heavy. I don't really remember the fundamental reasons of why that meltdown happened in 2018, but that was my first experience with something that was out of the normal for trading conditions. But anyways, what was very helpful of doing the webinars in October of 2017 is, like, I practiced, I looked at stuff, I reviewed, I recorded, and when I watched the second round of webinars, it just so much shit made more sense to me. And I think doing, like, if you buy a course or anything like that, I think it is very important that you go through it a second time after you've been practicing whatever it is for several months, because you will see shit you didn't fucking see the first time, and you will have more experience and knowledge than you did the first time. So there's just more stuff you're gonna get from it that you just didn't get the first time. And that's a prime example with a lot of my YouTube videos. Some of you guys come here, and some of you, not the videos, just you didn't get shit from it. Some might have got a little golden nugget here or there. And for some of you, some of these videos might be complete golden nugget, the whole thing. Some of you might watch, because I know some of you guys watch my tick drills more than once. I know those videos get repeat watches from the same people. Some of you guys go and rewatch some of my stuff, and you guys tell me how you just are getting more of it after practicing and watching it the first time. So this is very important to understand. When you are buying a course, you do need to go through it 2 times, which I really been putting this video off for a reason, and we'll get to that later. I really should have put it off, but somebody has been anticipating it, so here we go. So let's get into the good, the bad, the ugly. It's not volume profile. It's not auction market theory. It's only DOM trading, which honestly I thought was really good for me. So I had put down charts for months and months of no charts. And I actually think this is the good of it. And this is why when I tell you to do tick drills, don't look at charts. John Grady even said, Grandpa John Grady said, put the charts down. And just don't look at them. And just learning to look at the markets for months and order flow, I think it is really what has given me, again, the foundation and a leg up of a lot of people who are just trying to learn it to complement chart trading. So you got to understand, the trader I am today is because of the experiences I had yesterday, if you will. So just experiencing that months and months of just pure DOM trading and watching multiple fucking DOMs at the same time. Okay, you guys, some of you guys can't even handle one. Yeah, try doing a fuckload at once. It's doable. You can do it. So that was really, that really turbocharged shit, if you will. So the good, the bad, the ugly, it really isn't a complaint when it comes to pure order flow shit. And if you want to get into bonds, yeah, it's worth it. I don't know about how updated his basic and intermediate is, but if you can catch around a webinar, do it. Do it. If you plan on trading that kind of market, do it. Fucking do it. For real. And you might want to go through the basic and intermediate as well if you plan on doing that. So, yeah, it's going to cost you some money, but you get a lot of material. And if you're able to sit through hours of shit, then it's worth it. And I feel like most of you who've made it this far in the video are able to do that. So let's get into the next stuff. Jigsaw trading. So this would be in between the John Grady webinar of October and February from 2017 to 2018. And Jigsaw definitely didn't cost this. And if you'd like to save yourself $30 on Jigsaw trading, go to the affiliate link in the description, hit the coupon code, all that shit. You can save yourself $30. They give me a little kickback, so that's always nice. Yeah, I bought the institutional, and it did not fucking cost that much. The institutional at the time was about $1,700 or $1,800. Let's just say $1,800. Or was it 17? Let's just say plus 1,800. Because I bought this shit and we're at 6,200 bucks now. I bought this shit back in October of 2017, right? When I was going through the John Grady stuff. And at the time, in the independent was like 300 bucks. So, woo! Shit has changed. And I believe professional was 500. You guys gotta understand that Jigsaw trading, because you guys ask me all the time, what do you think of Jigsaw's education? I don't fucking know, because it changes. It changes. They update it. It's different. As far as I know, it ain't what the fuck it used to be. That's for sure. So I don't know what Jigsaw education is in 2022. But what I can tell you, I mean, they got trade calendar, leaderboard, live chat room, access, basic training. I didn't go through any of the basic training, I'm going to be honest with you, because I went through the John Grady shit. I mean, fuck, I knew it at that point. At the time, it said get training from a prop firm called Axia, and that was my introductory to Axia. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that, because John Grady was in a prop firm, so Axia is a prop firm. Fuck, I'll do it. Oh boy. Advanced order flow training package, institutional training package, order flow with strategies, and complementary group therapy sessions, which did exist at the time I did it, and I didn't fucking use any of that shit. The only thing I did was I went through the Axia stuff. Like I didn't do the group therapy, the basic training, all that shit. I wanted the Axia stuff, and they allowed you to pick between footprint or the volume profile. One was volume profile, footprint, and then ladder. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a ladder trader, because that's another word for the DOM. You can call it a ladder. And boy, oh boy, was that the piece of shit education. It was terrible. The Axia ladder training in 2017 fucking sucked. It was terrible. It was short, and it didn't really give you shit. And I had just gone through the John Grady stuff, so they didn't tell me nothing. They didn't give me nothing good. So I was kind of upset, honestly. Do want to talk about Axia, though. Just because I thought their ladder was shit doesn't mean their education ain't shit. Here's Axia's YouTube. It is definitely worth a watch. I don't watch their stuff anymore, but I did, and at the time, there were certain traders who were trading off the DOM, and I would definitely, since I was in order flow, it definitely made sense to me. I mean, they're English, they talk really fast, and I'm a Texan who talks kind of slow, and it's hard to understand stuff when they don't cuss that much. I'm just kidding. But it's just like they're talking so fast because they're English, and it's just like, you know, I'm a stupid Texan. It's like, I don't fucking know what they're saying part of the time. Well, I did, but I just got to really fucking focus on it because they're ripping through shit a million miles an hour, right? So one thing that I took away from Axia's free YouTube videos was the time in sales will speed up if there's going to be a breakout, and it'll slow down if it's going to reverse and roll. And for whatever reason, that one video just slammed me in the fucking head. And it was like this holy grail moment. You know, oh, oh. And I thought it took my trading to the next level. But it just, that little concept sticks with me to this day. And from a free YouTube video, and that is just one of the most simplest things that nobody tells you until you figure it out on accident. And I say this, and I believe the video, the trading course video that you should watch before this one, I mean, you don't know what you're looking for until it just shows up. Like, you have no idea what to look for until it just shows up in front of you. I believe I say it in that video. And that was one of those moments. So Axia, the good, the bad, and ugly, at the time in 2017, the institutional package, I didn't take advantage of it, so that's a big I don't fucking know, but the Axia ladder course was shit. I heard the footprint one was really good. Didn't watch it. Somebody gave it to me once. Didn't fucking watch it. I also got access to Futex material. Axia used to be Futex before they became Axia. And somebody who caused a flash crash, Nav or some guy, he was an autistic guy. He had a Chat with Traders episode. Somebody, he wasn't actually on it, but somebody talks about him on there. I'm about to fart. Glad I didn't shit myself. But anyways, yeah, that guy apparently worked for Futex as well. So I got access to all this old Futex material. That shit kind of sucked too. Didn't really go through all of it. So when it comes to Jigsaw education, is it worth it in 2022 or whatever fucking year you're watching this? I don't fucking know at this point, because they update and change their shit. So they do have a Discord now. You're going to have to just go into other communities and ask and figure that out for yourself. I know I've had other people who've commented on my channel that some of the stuff they've been through some of their material. What material was it? The basic, was it? Yeah, the oh, and I believe you get journal ticks for a year, which is very important. You do need a trading software. So yeah, you with Jigsaw, you do, I believe you get journal ticks for a year for free. Email them if you plan on using it and ask, but that is hugely important. And these more recent videos before this one, like my coaching video and all that, the first one, we talk about trade tagging. Journal ticks is huge. That's a reason I really like Jigsaw. And if you can get it for a year for free, totally, and you plan on doing Jigsaw, it's worth it. But that's only if you plan on using it. Sierra Charts is pretty fucking good. Because people ask me about Sierra all the time. I'm not going to do a video on it. So that's up to you guys. What do you need? What are you looking for? So yeah, they talk about the, what is it? The basic training. So there's been guys that have gone through the basic training, and a handful of guys, and they told me my free videos just explain shit better. So I don't know. I know Peter Davies, I don't know if he's still doing those videos, but a lot of old Peter Davies videos, again, he has the accent, and he typically talks in a room that has no sound deadening, and his mic sucks, so there's this loud echo, and it just sounds like shit. So that makes listening to trading videos harder. Anyways, the good, the bad, and the ugly. On this one, I really don't fucking know, but if you have the potential to do the Axia ladder course, pick something else. Unless they've updated it, but just pick something else. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is Verniman's free Twitter profile. Somebody, a YouTube subscriber years ago, suggested I follow this guy, and this is where we learn it, baby. Auction market theory. He has a free blog spot. I don't know. He just is a god at trading the ES, and he only trades 2 lots, and he is fucking good at it. So Verniman has a blog. You can go to his blog. I've read every single one of these things, and he has a shitload of videos. And some of his videos are actually videos from Futures Trader 71, Anthony Crudeli. He used to have John Grady of No BS Day Trading videos in here. I don't know how often he's updating these videos on the blog. I kind of want to figure out how new that is to see if he is updating it from when I last seen it. I'm just going to let that stupid fucking ad play. Yeah, actually he does, because this was streamed on May 25th, 2022. So actually he has been updating his blog. So he writes stuff up, but a lot of it is videos he's borrowed from other people. This video right here was hugely powerful for me. This was this inspired me to do my auction market theory video. I'm going to move this only in case it's a fucking ad. It's not an ad. This is from 2013. From Verniman 1. Wait, Verniman has a fucking channel? Interesting. Let's go back to his blog. I didn't know that. But this fucking video right here was my first introductory to auction market theory. Free. Now, Verniman has a paid thing. We'll get to that here in a moment. But, yeah, I mean, I went through all of his blog, and then I ended up buying his coffee, which that's how I got inspired to do my coffee page. Hey, guys, if you want, I also have a coffee. Link in the description if you want to donate. It's just a, hey, thanks, Fat Cat, for all the stuff you do, because it's, what time is it? It's midnight, and I'm doing this long-ass video for you guys, so you can thank me with money. That'd be nice. But he has a paid-for private Twitter, which I believe it's 10 coffees, which is $30. Yep. So $30 a month. You get his private Twitter, and he starts screenshotting everything that's happening, and then he posts his P&L at the end of the day. And what I would do is, and he would show his entries, but by the time he actually executed and stuff, since it's a bunch of screenshots with small explanations, at the time he would execute, it's a little late for you. And a lot of his trading has a little mystery to it. Really understanding his trading is a bit tough. He will get to you, but he's very particular in how you respond to him. You got to go through either one of his Twitter profiles, I forget which one, and you send him messages. I don't know. I knew a guy that was constantly communicating with him. I didn't really ask him too many questions every now and then, because I remember we both took a trade at the same time, a short, and I made like $25 on it, and he made 5,000. And we both did it on 2 lots, and he just held his position way longer. And I'm like, how'd you fucking do it? And he explained. But, the market melted down. But I've bought many, 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 many months of his shit. I want to say I've probably bought, maybe 6 months worth of that. So that's about $180 total, and I bought his stuff on and off, on and off, on and off. So let's just $180 for Twitter. We're at $6,400. So yeah, I was on and off with his stuff. You know, there'd be times where I felt defeated, so I would go ahead and resubscribe to him, and then, you know, kind of figure it out, go my own way. and then feel defeated, go back to Verniman. So if you're ever feeling down, that's what I would do. I would go back to Verniman. But he's screenshotting a shitload of stuff throughout the day, and then just going over his entries and exits, and is it balanced, imbalanced. His blog definitely talks about a lot of what he's doing, but not in super great detail. And it's just, and it also has a mixed match of different YouTube videos that are important to him for whatever reason. It's just really kind of trying to crack the Da Vinci Code or something. But it definitely gave me my first taste of auction market theory and volume profile. And yeah, his material definitely helped. I mean, the good, the bad, the ugly. The bad is the way he fucking does it is like, what the fuck? Because you're really not getting any detailed explanations. There's no videos. There's nothing other than maybe a message back and forth. And I just don't think that's enough to really understand what he's doing. But what he would do that I would do is he would post his P&L at the end of the session, and I would look at his time in. And since I was recording and reviewing my sessions, I would also look at what time he executed his trades, and I would look at my depth of market, and I would kind of look at exactly what price he got in, and I would go, okay, he got in right about here. And I would just kind of watch the order flow around his entries through my recordings. And he uses Thinkorswim or whatever. I was still using Jigsaw and Sierra charts at the time. I ended up getting Sierra charts so I could start using TPO. And I got Sierra charts so I could use volume profile. And I did it because of Verniman, I believe, because he was an introductory to volume profile for me, as well as auction market theory. So that, I mean, for those of you who ask me, why do you use both Jigsaw and Sierra? Well, this is how it all came to. And now I have Jigsaw on a different computer, and I have a PC dedicated to just execution. So this is why I use the two different deals and not just one. Okay? But, and I just don't, and you know, at the time I got Jigsaw, they didn't have charting. They do have charting now. Has it got better over time? I don't know, because I have Sierra the way I want it. And I'm just going to continue to use Sierra. I just don't have, even if Jigsaw can do what I want it with charting, I just don't feel like changing shit up, guys. But yeah, so I think looking at his P&L and kind of looking at your own recordings and stuff is definitely a good way to learn about his trading. And he definitely uses time and sales as well. And he talks about time and sales a lot. So time and sales is huge. So this is where I started to get a glimpse of time and sales, was through Verniman. So, I mean, it's only 30 fucking bucks for a month. I believe he gives you a smoking deal on a year. Well, I don't know if it's a smoking deal, but you definitely get a discount if you buy a year. But again, it's only 30 bucks. It's definitely worth it, but it's just kind of good to watch him trade while you're watching your stuff, and just seeing how these profiles is forming and looking at his screenshots. And honestly, I actually plan on doing more Verniman again, to be honest with you. I feel like I would comprehend it a lot better now than, and it's only 30 bucks. I feel like I would comprehend it a lot better now because I haven't done it for a while, from where I am. And it wouldn't be I'm trying to take Verniman trades. It would more so be comparing notes to somebody I know that's good at this, because he's fucking good at it. And another thing about Verniman is it's hard to find guys that are trading ES successfully. And he has proven track records of doing it through his P&L. And out of 6 months, just random 6 months of doing his stuff, he constantly crushed it. I did his stuff during COVID, before COVID, after COVID, and he just could do it. He could just fucking do it. So, because when COVID happened, it was just such a shock for me that it's like, what the fuck? Let's see what Verniman's doing. Can Verniman do this? Sure as the fuck shit, Verniman was fucking doing it in fucking COVID. Because the market got extremely thin and it was extremely volatile, and I ain't never seen nothing like that since, and, you know, all that. So for those of you who have not experienced the COVID, I might have a video or two on COVID trading, more so when it might be a little calmer, but I still have my historic recordings from that time. I like to dust those off every now and then. Maybe I'll do a video or just kind of look at old school COVID footage on a live stream one day. I do that in the Discord. I do have a free Discord link in the description. Go in there. But I do it with the Discord traders. We kind of look at the COVID. I know I'm ranting, guys, but I'm passionate about trading. So, the Verniman thing is definitely worth it, but it's like, I plan on doing it again, to be honest with you. And again, the reason I want to do it again is just to compare notes to another trader. So I'm like, oh, Verniman's here. And it just kind of makes me feel good about my own trading. And one thing I notice, and what's important about communities, is when you know other guys know their shit, and when somebody's getting set up on a trade, it's not that you want to take their trades. It's if you have the same trade idea in the same direction in roughly the same area, it just can be confirmation. But as a new trader, you need to be very careful with that kind of shit. So that's why I would want to redo his stuff, and I think it's worth it for new people trying to learn auction market theory on a budget, really, and just to watch your trades, look at his P&L, review, record. Yeah, you got to do all this shit to, again, crack the Da Vinci Code that is Verniman, but for 30 bucks, it's totally fucking worth it. So 100% Fat Cat seal approval right there. So let's get into the next one, which will be some free stuff. So chat with traders. Chat with traders, I started listening to around the John Grady era, 2018 is when I really started to get into chat with traders. Now, this one right here with Lance Breitstein is so good. This part 3 is amazing later in. I don't know about this other stuff. The one with Shark is okay, but this Lance Breitstein guy is starting to be, really, he's on my fucking radar as of now, and this is more recent. I really fucking like this guy, and I think you guys should go to his Twitter because he did post something recently. I just want to pull this up. I know we're sidestepping and shit, but this is stuff I find value in, right? So Lance Breitstein, he posted this the other day. Let me go to it. This right here. Read this. It's so good. And if you're a little more experienced, it's going to just be awesome. I'm not going to get into the details of this, but I fucking love this post. So much so that I'm going to fucking retweet it. There we go. So you can go to my shit, which is at Fat Cat, at the real Fat Cat 1 or what have you. Let's just, yeah, let me just go to it real quick. So where's my fucking shit? Yeah, at Real Fat Cat 1, I don't really post much shit. Is it worth following Fat Cat? Not really. But yeah, so chat with traders, it's so good to just go through it. It's free. And to listen to all of these experienced traders. I mean, you got John Grady, and this is where Mike Bellafiore and S&B Capital. And just listening to Mike Bellafury's interviews, I mean, he was so monotone in like his first ones. It's like, ugh. But I recircled to Mike Bellafiore, and then I started getting into S&B Capital stuff. And S&B Capital, honestly, they're doing a lot more playbook stuff. I really like their older stuff. I really like their older stuff with Dr. Brent Steenbarger. I like their older stuff where Mike Bellafiori's just talking through the whole thing. A lot of this is more playbooky stuff. And I mean, they're just kind of putting content out at this point, which it's okay. I do find some interesting stuff in it. But at the time, 2018, 2019, yeah, 2019 is when I really got into the S&B Capital stuff. Their videos, I really was enjoying them. And Mike Bellafiori shifted my perspective on trading as a whole. And just hearing his chat with traders on how to become a 7-figure trader and how these prop guys are really doing it, and then reading the book One Good Trade. I'd never really finished the playbook, to be honest with you, but I did go through all One Good Trade. It gave me a completely different perspective. I had no fucking idea that there was all this other stuff you need to be doing, and what this really was, and how this is comparable to being an athlete and shit. And that's just shit you don't talk about. And hopefully you guys are starting to really see what my channel is. My channel is really a spirit animal of all of this different stuff that has crafted me into the identity I have now. So a lot of this is a summary and shit that has really stuck out to me, wrapped up into one thing. Yeah, there's a lot of original Fat Cat stuff, but at the same time, a lot of it is not. It's inspiration, and I've just kind of made it my own, if you will. And that's what's important, is you guys, when you go through all of this stuff, just because I don't trade bonds, you know, just because I don't do all these other things that I've gone through doesn't mean I haven't made it my own or I haven't learned from something from it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you guys are really serious about this, you're going to become, at some point, you're going to have to become your own trader, if you will. So the S&B stuff with Mike speaking, they have a video on getting tilted, and interviews with Shark on the S&B channel, and just the whole chat with traders. All of that is so good, because there's a point in time where I was working part-time in restaurants, and again, I told you, this is the history. This is not just everything I've done, but this is the history of how all of the material I've consumed has turned me into what I am today. And I think this story is very important. And there was many years where I worked part-time in restaurants, and I would listen on the way to work, and when I was like rolling silverware and cleaning wine glasses, I would listen to Chat with Trader episode every time I got on shift. Or when I would do something else, Chat with Traders, Chat with Traders, Chat with Traders. And you're just hearing things from these professionals and just hearing them speak. And while it's not trading strategies or technical stuff, it's so important and impactful, and it really gets you understanding what this really is. And that's why I try to make my videos the way they are. Another good thing that I highly fucking recommend, and this is more new, and it's since we're on the thing of free stuff right now, because I want to give you valuable free resources, is this Alpha Mind podcast. It's so good. The last one I listened to was Oliver Kell. This one is amazing. That's a highly recommended one. I still need to go through these other ones, but there's another good one with Merritt. Then you got this one with Mike Bellafiori. I don't remember that one, but I did listen to it. So the one with Merritt was really good too. Merritt Black used to be the head futures trader of S&B Capital, and then he founded Apteros Prop Firm, which is an online prop firm, and then he created a NADRO course, which we're going to go through later, because I did buy that. Excuse me. So, Alpha Mind Podcast is going to be your more really psychological podcast. It just has this rawness. I like Chat with Traders. Aaron, he's getting better at interviewing people, but his interviewing I just didn't think was super awesome, especially in a lot of the earlier episodes. While Chat with Traders is great, I like the guys that do the Alpha Mind podcast, and one of them actually has a Twitter, which I definitely recommend you guys follow this guy's Twitter, which is give me a second. So this is Steven Goldstein. So he actually posts really good inspirational stuff, just really raw shit on what it takes to become a top-end trader and stuff. Because I believe he's a trading coach as well. So he posts really useful shit that's just like really good tweets. So as far as Twitter goes, Verniman, follow his free shit if you want to do the pay stuff. Lance Birdstein, oh god, I keep butchering his name, but the Lance guy I showed you earlier, and Steven Goldstein. Anybody else? Maybe not really. I mean, Mike Bellafieri, as much as I like Mike Bellafieri, you just really aren't getting good stuff out of his tweets and stuff. But those three I recommend. Anybody else? Not really. Not even me. Fuck. But I know some of you guys are all over that shit, so you might as well follow me. If you don't get YouTube stuff, I'll post my videos there, or a little something here or there that I don't share anywhere else, but not that often that I'm worth a follow. But so yeah, the Alpha Mind Pod, it's just a different flavor than Chat with Traders. So the good, the bad, the ugly, it's all free shit, so there is no bad with those things. Let's go ahead and get into the next thing, which is Gary Norden. He has his own website now called the NordenMethod.com. So Gary Norden, what the fuck, there's a bug here. He does have a YouTube channel as well. You can just type up Gary Norden. I ain't even fucking show it. So let's talk about Gary Norden for a minute. So Gary Norden, he was a market maker, pit trader back in the day. So his style is very much very small scalps using order flow, and he's not a chart guy. He's not a technical indicator guy. I think he wrote a book talking about how technical indicators are bullshit and how it's just junk food in the industry and it's all lies and all this bullshit. I don't agree with a lot of things he's talking about, because auction market theory is definitely, if you're into futures trading and you get in the volume profile, auction market theory is a cult. And just seeing Verniman pull it off all the time shows you that that type of shit is not bullshit. And we're going to get into the NADRO stuff, which also uses auction market theory, volume profile, or TPO, and some technicals. And that's also not bullshit. So Gary Norden is just definitely a different breed of trader. So at the time, he sold material exclusively through Jigsaw trading. And I had a trader talk to me about him, introduce me to his material, and said, I really want the Gary Norden market making manual. So at the time, Jigsaw sold a 50-page PDF for $999. Let me add that to the calculator, because old Fat Cat bought a fucking PDF for $999 fucking dollars for a 50-page PDF. I was really on the fence of this one. But since I've had years of experience, when did I buy his shit? Had to have been 2020, May-ish of 2020, I want to say. May-ish, March-ish of 20... No, it wasn't March of 2020. It was somewhere in the 2020s after COVID, May, June, somewhere in there. I bought the market making manual through Jigsaw, which is no longer offered through Jigsaw. He created his own website called the Gary Method or whatever the fuck it is. And now he has probably Revolution. It's probably not even, this manual probably doesn't exist in the form it is now. You start off as a red jacket, and then you go up to the next jackets, and then you gotta prove yourself to them before you can like get access to like the last jacket. And then if you can pull it off on demo or some shit, he gives you a gold jacket for real. Not gonna lie, I kind of want that gold jacket because that's like the gold jacket from Happy Gilmore. I mean, how cool is a fucking gold jacket? Yeah, I really would like that gold jacket, but just to have it, just to fucking brag, and then I can be on YouTube doing this. You know, and how Happy Gilmore pissed off Shooter McGavin when he won the golden jacket. I want the fucking golden jacket, but I don't know if I'm gonna do all. I can't do that. I mean, I got my own thing going on, right? So, if somebody gets the golden jacket, please, I'll buy it off of you. I'm just kidding. I need to earn that shit. But I don't even think you can get to golden jacket status without doing a bunch of crazy shit. So, and spending a lot of money probably as well. So I think the red jacket course is the first one. I think that's the equivalent of the market making manual. I don't know. But he's trying to do this ranking system like it was back in the old days of the pits and shit. The problem with market making is a lot of algos and robots are running it. And a lot of the guys who are doing it on a desk have these things assisting them to actually make the markets. Gary Norden, his method is very difficult. Now, unfortunately, I signed a fucking non-disclosure for like a decade when I bought his PDF, so I'm not going to give out all the juicy deets on it because I really would like to not get sued and shit. But it took me about 3 hours to read a 50-page PDF because the information was so fucking good in it. And having order flow background and just trading order flow and all that shit, it was worth it for me. There was no pictures or nothing really, so you just got to kind of like read it and you had to fucking visualize it. And honestly, I don't think that manual was for others. I just don't. I had the money, so I bought it. I wanted it, so I don't think it was a waste of money. It was just so good for me, and there's a lot of shit I learned from it. I did exactly what he recommended it to do to get good at the market making style. But the thing is, it's very intense. It's very grueling. Yes, you come out with high win rates, really high win rates if you can pull it off right. And you also take a fuckload of trades throughout the session. So if you're one of those people that just want to be clicking the fucking mouse and over trading, maybe. But I don't know anything about his new material. And again, the PDF doesn't work because Gary Norden went on his own way. So Jigsaw discontinued the PDF. He did have some videos, some Q&As, I believe 4 or 5 sessions when he was doing Jigsaw. I kept asking Jigsaw, when are these? And they would never get back to me, so I would constantly miss the Q&As, but I had the recordings. I don't know if all that stuff deleted off my Jigsaw account, because I think they mentioned somewhere it was going to get completely pulled at a specific date. So that might be $999 where it's all a memory at this point. But apparently if you bought the manual, you can upgrade to the red jacket course. I tried to do that, and they wanted my driver's license and all this bullshit, even though I showed them my proof of purchase and all this crap. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I ain't doing that. I think they're taking that NDA pretty seriously, and that NDA might be part of this as well. So, I don't know. For me, though, if you didn't have order flow experience, it was definitely not worth it because you had to visualize it. But for somebody who had been trading order flow for years, it was hands down worth it because I learned a lot through it. And there's just like before the Gary Norden stuff, I used to use exclusively market orders. Then I started to learn the importance of limit orders and time and sales and how to kind of look at larger and smaller traders and all that shit and how to really do it on that nittier grittier level. And while again, in my opinion, auction market theory, once you see bigger trades, they can't be unseen. And Gary Norden is totally against that shit. He wrote a book on all that bullshit. How technicals ain't shit. I believe he talks shit about auction or volume profile in one of his Q&As. I don't remember. But again, he's a different type of trader and he does what works for him. So he's going to have biases and opinions and that's okay. But for me, it definitely pivoted my trading quite a bit and that it was worth it. But that shit doesn't exist anymore. So I don't fucking know. So the good, the bad, the ugly, I don't know. At this point, it just doesn't really... What I had doesn't exist anymore, and I don't know about the new stuff, guys. So, let's get into the next thing. So, there is a trader named PAX who has a website called the PAX Group. So, I had a trader when I used to have a private Discord tell me how he was going through his stuff. And I want to say at the time it was a Discord. There were different memberships. I guess there's a membership sign up form now. It didn't used to look like this. I don't know like how much it cost at this point. But his he's got a bunch of proof or something. So, okay, let's talk about PAX for a second. So this guy also used to be a pit trader. He has all these stories and interviews and stuff. He used to trade all this, make millions in NASDAQ, and then at some point he started losing a bunch of money. I don't know. You guys can go look him up for yourself. I had a trader in my private Discord tell me about how he really liked this group. You should do it, yada, yada, yada. So I joined, and I believe the package I paid for, if I'm not mistaken, was $300 for a month. And it was like a pre-plan, not a pre-plan, it was his, he talked before the session, and then when we go into the session, he would talk through the session, and he only traded the open range. And what you do is you try to get long at the open range, and you try to get short below the open range. And it was the first 30 seconds. And he was really quick and really fast. And it was a very scalpy style to get into the trade. But what was interesting is you hold the trade to specific targets. And generally, you're supposed to do it with 4 lots. The more lots, the easier, and that's what he said. I agree. At the time, I was a 2-lot trader, so I started experimenting with 4-lot trades, and I started doing his method on demo at first. And the first 1 lot always came off at exactly 4 points at the time. And then he would have other targets he would tell you to where you would start to scale. And certain trades you might hold overnight if they might keep running. Give me just a minute. Okay, so he basically talks about the opening range breakout in here. So this answers a question he didn't answer for me in the Discord. So there are things I didn't like about the PAX group, and there are things that I really changed my trading for the better. So what I didn't like about it is I I'm somebody at the time who had been running, and I did this around, what was it, January of 21 is when I started doing this. I want to say December 2020, January 2021, February 2021, somewhere in there is the month I did this. Because when I did this, this is when I actually got consistently profitable. So what I didn't like is I had been running my Discord since January 2020. So there were certain ways he did the group I didn't agree with. I would ask him, people would ask him questions, I would ask him questions, and he would say, if you're here long enough, I will answer that. I basically asked him, why is the open range breakout? Like, why? Like, technically speaking, yeah, I understand we just traded, but I don't want to just blindly trade it. I want to know why that is even a fucking thing. Why is it the first 30 seconds? And I guess this explains it, but this website wasn't like this when I went through it. But he told me, well, if you're here long enough, I'll tell you. And it's like, no, I'm paying $300 fucking dollars for this shit, or however much. You should fucking tell me. Either way, I'm paying money for it. I don't remember how much it was. But, you know, I didn't appreciate him off-putting questions and not answering questions if you're paying all this money. Especially since I'm running a Discord for free. I always ran Discord for free. I still do. I don't plan on charging for Discord. And I would always answer questions. And that's where, as somebody who runs a community, I didn't agree with that shit at all. Whereas, you know, he would also have these levels, and he wouldn't tell you how he fucking came up with his fucking levels. And he would talk about how only like 2 or 3 other guys knew what his levels were, and he just ain't gonna share them. And that makes you reliant and dependent on another trader, and I don't agree with that shit. That keeps you dependent on his shit, so that way you keep subscribing to him for these fucking levels. Well, you know what I fucking did? I had my own levels because I've been trading before him, and using auction market theory and profiles, I had areas. So I started trading the open range, and at the time was very quick and fast. You know, I went through the Gary Norden stuff. That got me pretty quick, and been reading order flow for years at this point. So I know what I'm doing, and I was nailing it. I was really good at it. Trading these open ranges and, you know, scaling at the first 4 points, or I would come up with my own targets, and I was making more than I ever had, because before PAX, I was cutting trades and scalping. I was really a scalper, and not really a Gary Norden scalper, but based off auction market theory, I just didn't have it in me to really hold trades. And this was my first taste of actually holding trades and getting a lot more than I ever did on a more frequent basis. And it's like, well, shit, I don't need his levels. And he wasn't really into auction market theory or volume profile. He talked a lot about volume profile, and he would talk about how it's really not useful anymore because he knew Stedmeyer, who invented it. And then he would say, yeah, I do use volume profile at certain times. And I don't know. He liked to talk stories. And I don't want to discredit the guy by any means. He's a really great guy. I thought he was hilarious. He cusses. I really like him as a person, but I just don't agree with him not telling you how he gets his levels and not answering questions when I would ask them, and I'm paying all this money for a membership. And that's because I run my own shit, and I wouldn't do that to my traders. So I just disagree with the way he does it. And how do you come up with this stuff? That's where, but to his credit, I got consistent. I started trading open range trades. You could also do close range trades as well. I'm going to literally go back and read this and understand what he's talking about, because this is news to me. This is what I wanted to fucking know at the time I asked. So that's interesting. Because he explains the opening range in there, something to do with algos on the first 30 seconds and how they're stopping themselves out. I'm not sure if I really agree with it. I briefly read it. But anyways, I know as of recent with the shifts, I heard an interview with him and he's been talking about how things have been real bad on his end. So it seems there's just a time and place where that open range trade is just absolute dog shit. But at the time when I started using it, it worked like magic. We had volatility. It worked really good. And then summer rolled around and it just wasn't fucking working. I also had another setup that is very much fat cat called a gap jump. And it works. It works to this day. It's been working. It's one of my best playbook setups. So I've been using that as well. In conjunction with some of the PAX stuff. I don't remember when the gap jump really came on the scene. It had to have been sometime after the PAX stuff a little bit and somewhat before the summertime, because I did have good statistics on it. But I was just using my own levels, and summertime rolled around and the open range trade did not fucking work, because that specific summer of 21 was, I believe we were at all-time highs, and it was really grindy and shitty, and I started doing really bad. And it, going from consistently making $5,000 a month to like having a month where I was down like $4,000 or $5,000 was a huge blow to me. And then things started to become very difficult. I did abandon the open range trade. I don't use it anymore. I do trade the open, but it's not an open range trade. I trade the open based off of, and I have an open drive video. You guys can watch it right here. I trade the open on my own style and system, and I trade it off, auction market theory, volume profile, all that shit. So yeah, I definitely love trading the open itself, but not the way PAX does it, where you figure out what the range is in the first 30 seconds. And it kind of makes sense, because it very well could move away in either direction from that open range, and you're just trying to get long on the first 30-second area and short below it. He had rules and parameters behind it, obviously. But, I mean, what happens when it becomes neutral or that open gets the shit chopped out of it? You know what I mean? That's when his system becomes a real issue. So I did eventually abandon it, but it definitely taught me how to hold trades. So I was starting to learn how to hold trades through other areas that weren't the open. But I ended up slumping out very hard that summer. I have a few videos. Hold on real quick. So I had these videos right here. See this trading slump video? Between the context video and the trading slump, so this would be May 5th to June 5th. Right there is where shit got real bad for me. And I decided to make this trading slump video right when I started to turn my trading back around. So if you want to know kind of like where my trading was in between there, these two videos kind of go hand in hand. In this trading slump video I made because I was having fucking issues that summer. So it's kind of interesting to see how some of this shit reflects in my channel. But, yeah, so the PAX stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly, is it worth it? I'm going to say no, absolutely not. I just don't see the money paying for that and trading the open range and all that. I mean, and relying on his indicator or his levels. I don't know if things have changed since then. They could have. I just don't think it was worth it. But the good is it got me consistent. I learned how to hold. And for me, personally, with the experience I had with order flow, scalping, and all that, because PAX is very quick as well, to his credit, he helped me get to the next level. So I do owe it to him for letting me see the light of holding trades. So I like the guy. He's a nice guy and stuff, but I just don't think that particular paying for that is really worth it, to be honest with you. Let's get into the next thing. The big one, the big one, the big one. Oh boy, oh boy. Apteros NADRO Course, my friends. So let's go to the education section. The last trading course you'll ever need, by the prior head futures trader at SMB Capital. Why he left SMB, I don't know. I actually talked to an intern after he left at SMB, and there was some speculations, but I still don't know. Anyways, so what's interesting is there was a tryout to get on the futures desk, and I did the tryout right before COVID, and I would have been on the desk with merit. So what happened was you had to make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, just like a combine. In January and February, I achieved the goal twice. And I'm like, we're going to do it. And I decided to do it at the beginning of March, and fucking COVID happened, and I couldn't fucking do it. And then at a later time, I wanted to try out for SMB again, and he had departed. He has a similar tryout to get on his desk. And for those of you who are actually considering a combine, this would be the way to do it, because you're going to get actual professional help. And this isn't a combine. This is an actual prop desk. Whereas these other combines are like, they say they're prop desks, but they ain't. You're just funded and ain't nobody helping you. You're going to get help if you can reach the goals. Now, the goals are a lot more rigorous to achieve through his program. So you can try out from the prop desk without buying the NADRO course. So you don't have to do that. And what's interesting, though, is part of the reason I think he may have left, and this is speculation, is the monetary, like, you got to make 10 grand to I believe, to get onto his desk. Whereas at SMB, it was a lot less. And I believe you could trade a lot more with SMB. So it was a lot easier to achieve that goal with SMB. And I believe there was an issue between Mike and Merritt, because guys were getting on the desk that really weren't good traders. And it's no different than guys that are able to, get through a combine, but you just end up failing because you cheated your way through the combine, or you did some weird, stupid shit to get through the combine. I believe SMB might have been getting traders that just weren't really qualified to be trading their capital through this way. And also the futures SMB desk was all online anyways. It was really the equities guys that were in-house, whereas all of the futures traders, from my understanding, were digital, like it is through Apteros now. So I don't know what happened, and that is speculation from hearsay from somebody that was an intern, who it was also hearsay. But either way, Merritt split off. I really enjoy Merritt and a lot of things he shares and talks about. So he's one of those guys that's in the trading world whom I have a lot of respect for. So for me, buying his material was sort of a no-brainer at some point. So let's talk about the actual NADRO course. Again, you don't need to do NADRO to go through the prop desk. I actually attempted, and I believe you can only trade a max of 4 lots to achieve the $10,000. And the rules are so much more different, and it's $315 a month. And I did try out for it. before I did the NADRO and I failed. I made some stupid mistakes. What happened was, this was also, I tried out during the summertime, when I was naturally not even doing well at that point. I was still kind of in this slumpy phase. And also, and I'm not adding the $315 to my stuff, because there are the SMB tryout, which I did the SMB tryout, and I had to reset the SMB tryout, and then I fucking quit. And then this tryout, I'm not adding that to the list of costs, by the way. But as far as like this, I thought I had switched to demo, and I was fucking around, and I didn't switch to a different demo, and I was on the combine, and I fucked it all up. And just naturally struggling that summer, I just decided to step out and not even fucking do it. So people often ask me, do you plan on doing it again? Yada, yada. At this point in time, I'm very content and happy where I am. But you get banging discounts. I believe there was a Twitter on how ESE minis are like only 96 cents a round turn. So you're getting unbelievable commissions that I can't even fucking get. Yes, the profit splits are higher, but you're getting more professional help and all that shit. And then you get to be around other guys that are crushing it. And there's just so much value in that. So yes, the splits are higher than other combines, but it's not a combine. It's an actual prop desk. And you're getting way better commissions. Whereas most combines have really terrible commissions that me as a retail trader, I get better deals than most combines. So you get a smoking deal on commissions, and that kind of offsets the splits a little bit as well. So you got to think of it that way. And I believe he breaks it down in there. But I don't want to sidestep and talk about his prop firm, but this is going to be harder. You're going to pay 2 months. You're really paying $630 because you have to do 30 trading days. And the rules, again, are a lot more stiff and rigorous and difficult than they were with SMB. And I really feel maybe Merit did learn from that experience, and maybe there really was an issue with unqualified guys getting on the desk. And you got to understand, so Merit has partners, and you can hear this through podcasts and shit. I kind of just piece shit together. Merit does, and I'm going to talk about it a little more, but Merit does talk about how he has partners. So he's not personally funding you as a trader. He's got partners, and they pay out every quarter. And I know getting paid every quarter might suck, so that might be a drawback for some of you guys. That's just how the partners want to do it. But you got to understand, he's got to preserve and protect the partner's money. And a lot of people that pass combines can't maintain it. So this is the most rigorous one. And again, it's not a combine. You're really getting on a trading desk, and you get real help from him. So, dude, if you're plan on going that route, this is definitely a great way to look, but I definitely suggest you know what you're doing before you do this one. Otherwise, it's going to be expensive. And I'm going to be honest with you. NADRO might actually be the best way to do this if you have nothing. So when he says this is the last trading course you need, he might not be bullshitting you. And listen, I do have a coupon code for this. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And I'm not hyping this up because I want to make sales. And listen, I only get credit with them. I don't get money. So we're going to get into NADRO. Okay? Let's get into NADRO. So it's pretty fucking expensive. I suggest you come to the website. Watch every single one of these videos. There's several modules. Lesson 1, mental framework. And I ended up doing this around October of 21. So 2021 of October, I decided to do this after I failed doing the Apteros Tryout. This lesson 1 mental framework for me was probably the most impactful thing in the course. Because at this point, I got a fuckload of experience. I've had a taste of consistency for many months over. And that mental framework and I'm going into this, and keep in mind, I'm going into this NADRO thing with years of experience at this point. And I'm going in it with, you know, I have setups, I understand auction market theory, I understand volume profile, and this is very much auction market theory and volume profile based stuff that going into this, it makes a fuckload of sense to me because it's right at home. And at the time of my trading, I wasn't really seeking, and I don't ever really plan on buying any more education, to be honest with you. But for me, this is something I'm already doing. So it made sense to actually buy it. And I wanted to learn from Merritt. So he had some YouTube videos where he was showing his systems. I don't remember what 2 videos they were. And I tried to replicate what his charts were. And I thought I figured out what he was doing through his YouTube videos. Because he shows trades and stuff in these 2 videos. And this is back then. So I tried to reverse engineer what he was doing before I bought this. And I thought I figured it out. And while I did figure out some stuff, I was definitely wrong about other things. You're just not going to figure out. You're not going to figure it out through his free videos. He also has Q&As generally every week. He also has a Twitter profile, the Apteros Twitter and the Merritt Black Twitter. I'm not going to pull them up right now. Those are 2 more I actually recommend you follow, because the Apteros will show their daily pre-market plan. But if you weren't a NADRO trader, you're not going to really understand it. But if you are a NADRO trader, that's a nice little gift for you, that he's going to show you his plans and stuff every morning on Twitter. And if you go through this, you're going to comprehend more of what's going on. So I do want to circle back to this lesson 1 because I did go off on a tangent. This one was so important that this lesson alone, just without even going through the rest of NADRO, changed my trading. And I'm not sure how impactful this might be for somebody that's brand fucking new. But if you're extremely, if you have a lot of experience under your belt, this lesson is so fucking good. So, lesson 2, he starts talking about auction market theory. What is it? The dynamics you must know. This lesson was also extremely good for me because it allowed me to look at auction market theory from a different perspective. And I talked about Verniman earlier in the video. While Verniman is an auction market theory trader, so is Merritt. But the thing is, they are very different in their approach and finesse of using auction market theory. And it's very interesting to sort of see the difference. And they both know what they're doing. And there's a lot of things Merritt does that I like, but there's also a lot of things Verniman does that I like as well. So this market framework, whereas the problem with Verniman is, I said earlier in the video, and if you kind of skip to this chapter, go to the Verniman section and watch that, and then come to this. But basically, to sum it up, Verniman, it's very hard to understand what's going on in his trading because he doesn't really explain it. Merritt explains stuff really well. He's really good at explaining all of it. Much like I would think with my videos, I really try to explain shit really well. So he's got a he definitely is able to explain shit in a way that you're going to understand it. And honestly, there's a lot of trading educators that aren't good at that shit. Kind of like the PAX thing. I mentioned how, you know, PAX, he just wouldn't explain shit. I didn't appreciate that. Whereas the Gary Norden stuff, when I had the manual, there was no pictures or nothing. What's awesome is Merritt will draw up scenarios and stuff with a pen. And these are all videos, dude. These are all little videos. This is a 3-minute and 26-second video of lesson 1, and he kind of gives you a summary of what's in that lesson. And then lesson 2, watch all of these videos. Lesson 3, execution, trade management. What's interesting about Merritt is I used VWAP and VWAP standard deviations well before I got into NADRO, and so does he. And I actually had been using ETH, VWAP, and VWAP standard deviations, and so does he. So what's interesting is I was using part of a technical indicator well in advance before I got into the NADRO stuff. And I noticed that in his free YouTube videos, and that's part of the reason why I ended up buying this stuff, because it's like a lot of this is very similar. So, you know, this is executing, getting more on the nittier, grittier, and then each lesson is meant to, you do it over a week. So lesson 1, he gives you an exercise. You do it for a week. Lesson 2, he gives you an exercise. You do it for a week. And you guys need to fucking do exactly what he says for a fucking week. Especially if you're brand fucking new. Okay? Me, on the other hand, I didn't. I know this goes against the grain. But I was leveraging a lot of what he was doing into my own trading. Also, I wish I would have... Now, one thing I want to say is I wanted to go through this course a second time before I made this video. And I kept putting this video off so that way I could go through it a second time, because I think it deserves a second time. Because I know I'm going to get more from it the second go, much like the second go of John Grady's webinar. I just hadn't had the time and I didn't do it. At some point, I plan on revisiting the NADRO course. But I definitely thoroughly combed through it. Execution and trade management, lesson 3. And there's a lot of things that are very interesting. So what does NADRO stand for? Real quick before we go on. So it stands for narrative. And what's interesting is I have my context video. And my context video I made well before I did the NADRO stuff. And literally my context video is narrative. But Merritt, and that's another thing that I related to with the NADRO stuff, is the narrative thing. It's so important. I would often forget it in my trading, and the NADRO course kind of reshined a light on that. And I learned it from a whole new perspective, and I really learned a lot about profiles in general that I just didn't really grasp. And this is stuff you don't find online. So that whole narrative thing was very familiar. And Merritt does mention a lot of his prop traders that are struggling are too zoomed in and they need to zoom out. And that is an ongoing issue. And when a lot of traders kind of zoom out, they start to find success. And I want to say that after I went through the NADRO stuff, my trading had got extremely well, and I've been doing pretty fucking good ever since. I want to touch on my own trading because it is my own trading. but let's continue through this. Lesson 4, long-term VWAPs. Not going to get too much on it, but he goes over higher time frames. Lesson 5, the work. So, you know, journaling and all this. This one's okay. This lesson is okay. But this is a lot of stuff I already knew. But if you don't know anything about this, this is still a good lesson. I think lesson 1 and 2 are the best lessons. Lesson 3 is pretty fucking good too. Lesson 4 is good as well. But as far as I mean, lesson 1 is my favorite. Lesson 2 is my second favorite. And lesson 3 is my third favorite. The other lessons are good. But again, I've came into this with a lot of experience. So the final lesson is order flow. This lesson, this is where I'm going to have a different opinion than Merritt. So Merritt had wrote a blog about how time and sales is old-fashioned, and he doesn't use a depth of market in this lesson. He doesn't use time or sales. He calls time and sales archaic. He uses, he uses a delta for his order flow. He also talks about footprints in there as well. So he uses the cumulative delta and footprint. But a lot of his highlights are going to be more so on the delta, in my opinion, especially if you do his live streams. Yes, he has live streams. And yes, I've done 2 of those. And yes, I'll talk about them. So as far as, like, I made a video a long time ago before this where I go over delta, and I definitely, and it's right here in case you want to know, and I basically talk about how I think delta is useless. So I went through his stuff on delta, and it certainly did put a lot more light on the actual delta itself. I plan on doing it again. I'm planning on going through the whole thing again. And I've been using delta. I still to this day have always had delta up. I just never really figured out how to take full advantage of it. But some of the stuff he shares about the delta is very interesting. And he also does mention the tape and DOM and how you're going to see things a little bit sooner. So while he does kind of talk shit about it in a blog post, he doesn't completely discount it. Because he does, I don't remember if it was in this lesson or in one of his live streams. I believe it was this lesson. He doesn't discount it. Just like I don't discount delta. But for me, my order flow is DOM and tape because I've been using it for fucking ever. So naturally, that's just where I get my order flow from. Now, delta does do some interesting things, and I'm still kind of figuring it out. I still look at it, but not like he does, and he's really good with it. Because there are, like, recorded trading sessions when you buy the NADRO course, so you get to watch those recorded sessions, kind of like a live stream. And then I've also done his intensives, which are week-long live streams, 2 of them. So the way he's using order flow with that delta and shit, he's good at it. So, I mean, this is proof in the pudding. While I personally don't like delta and I prefer order flow on the DOM and tape, I never say that it's useless. It's just people can use it and they can use it with success, and Merritt is definitely a prime example of somebody who can use it with success. So that for me was interesting, but that's where him and I are going to disagree. Is I just think time and sales and the order flow on the DOM is just far superior. But then again, order flow in other markets is not the same, and I can't use those tools the same in NQ, crude, whereas he trades all of these different markets. So really, I just know how to use it in the ES. Okay? So that's lesson 6, order flow. He doesn't dismiss tape. I don't dismiss delta. I never have. I think him and I are just on opposite spectrums when it comes to this order flow section. But I definitely learned a lot through it. And how order flow is sort of just a tiebreaker. He talks about how all this other stuff matters and how setups with edge matter. And you can be the greatest trader ever, but if you don't have setups with that edge, it doesn't matter. And I gotta say, I know other traders who use what he's doing to great success. So he definitely has setups with edge. And I made that video called, I don't remember, I'm gonna put it right here. Your idea of order flow is wrong, I believe. I talk about how setups with edge matter and order flow doesn't. But in that video, I'm sort of using my own stuff. So I put a lot of emphasis on order flow, and going through the NADRO, I started to zoom out more. I started to use different time frames, and I started to not be super on top of order flow as much as I used to. And my trading changed drastically. Now, he uses a lot of TPO. I prefer volume profile. And I still use my gap setup, which is not NADRO related. And there's a lot of things I do that is completely not NADRO, which I didn't finish. So NADRO stands for narrative, acceptance, developing value, rhythm, and order flow. Now, the rhythm thing was amazing, and I really started to get into the rhythm thing, and then I fell out of it. But as of the last several months, I actually started getting into my own version of rhythm. So the rhythm thing that he talks about, which I'm not going to get into, is interesting as well. And I just, when I saw the whole rhythm thing, that to me was pretty mind-blowing as well. So I just want to kind of talk about that. But again, my trading is very unique. My trading is very much John Grady. It's very much Gary Norden. It's very much Verniman. It's very much PAX in some ways. And it's very much NADRO as well. But I have my own things that are very much Fat Cat that aren't anybody's stuff. I have unique things I've put together that is very much my own thing that just simply does not exist anywhere else in the trading community as far as I know, that's being shared. So am I a NADRO trader? I don't know. But what's interesting is I use a tremendous amount of things that I've crafted into my own again. And I think this is what it's meant to be, because Merritt does talk about becoming your own trader and creating your unique own identity, and you can take NADRO and you can use it for scalping or swing trading. You can use NADRO on other products, Bitcoin if you wanted. You can use it for so many things, and he simply lays the foundation of auction market theory and a system with edge. And I came into it with a lot more experience, and I came into it understanding a lot of what he was sharing, so it was so familiar, and just using some of the things he uses, and I immediately turned it into my own. I immediately used it to complement my own trading. I didn't really do NADRO the way he teaches it. I immediately started taking what I loved about it and just jamming it into my own trading and just building off of what I've already built off of, been building for years. So my experience with NADRO will not be your experience with NADRO, especially if you're brand new. So for me, it's hard to really give you a review on it. It's good. It's definitely good. And once I went through it, my trading had hit levels I've never experienced ever up until this point, from October up until this point. And while this summer isn't like last summer, I'm still doing well. And I just, for me, it's like, it was good, but it was good in a way that you guys just will never understand. And it's just, I don't know what to really say about it. So, I mean, he has these live trading streams. I forgot how many hours of it. You definitely get a fair amount of hours of material. Now, the thing is, these lessons are literally one video. And I believe, like, one of them is, like, they're, like, 3 to 2 hour long videos. Like, and it's really hard to sit through. Yeah, it's like 5 lessons of 5 videos, but they're extremely long. It's very hard to sit through them. I wish they were cut up. I wish some of them have chapters in them. Some of them didn't at the time. I can't remember. I'd have to log in to see what it looks like. That's my only real gripe, is I wish it was more cut up. But it makes sense why it's not cut up. Really, just write the time frame down when you want to leave and come back. So that's not even a big deal. And it's not a big deal at all. It's just a really stupid complaint, because I really don't have anything to complain about, to be honest with you. Honestly, I kind of wish some of it was a bit longer, like the order flow section. I really do wish that was a bit more longer and shit. But then again, that's what the whole fucking these live trading streams are for, is so you can really get a good taste of it. So, I mean, no, I mean, it's good. Now, this is probably on the highest end of things I've ever bought. 10 hours of Q&A as well to listen to, so there's that as well. So let's get to the actual pricing. So there is NADRO plus mentoring. I don't know if it's group mentoring or not. That's very expensive at $6,800. The actual, just the NADRO is $2,995. So let me add that to my calculator. So $2,995. We're at 10K right now. He does have these intensives. I don't know when the next one is going to be. I don't see it. So I do want to talk about the intensives. I don't remember what I paid. I believe I paid $1,600 or some shit for the intensive, or $1,500. I believe when I bought NADRO, I ended up getting a slight discount with it. So I'm going to be definitely off on this number. Let's just say it was about $1,200 with that discount. So right now, this is what my trading education has cost me so far. Now, that doesn't include some other things, and I might be missing little odds and ends. I mean, that also includes the indicators and shit. And the Verniman thing might be off as well. So roughly, we're about 11 grand in this deal. So, and that's 11 grand you could easily lose in trading the markets. And I gotta tell you, that's $11,000, $12,000. Well worth it, because I've learned so much that it's crafted me into the trader I am today. And just like I said with John Grady's stuff, if you do NADRO, yeah, you might not be consistently profitable right off the bat. And it may be yours, but over time, you're crafting yourself into this specific trader. Now, before we go any further, I would like to share something with you. So if you buy NADRO and you go in here and you type in Fat Cat, you save yourself $449 fucking dollars. And that's a pretty good fucking saving. I believe it's 15%. And if you choose to do the actual mentoring itself, only 2 seats available, so interesting. You're going to get a decent saving here as well. Fat Cat, all capitals, no spaces. Hit the enter. You're going to save yourself $1,000. So how did this become? What is interesting is there's somebody named Ryan, and this is a little bit of a side story. There's somebody named Ryan who is the guy that you will be talking to, and he's kind of the tech guy that helps you and answers your questions through emails. So after I went through NADRO, I actually got an email from them. Hey, you know, you can get yourself some credit if you refer a friend, and they'll get a discount. So I reached out to him, and I'm like, hey, I actually have a YouTube channel. It's Fat Cats of Wall Street. And I sent it to him. He never replied back to me because I was going to ask if we could do an affiliate deal where I could just get a coupon, because they wanted me at the time to collect a bunch of fucking emails, and then I send it to their email. And it's like, look, I got a channel, and I don't want to be farming emails, but I thoroughly enjoy it. So a few months go by, and then I had somebody in my Discord who wanted to go through NADRO, so I reached out in that same email chain. And Ryan's like, holy shit, I didn't realize this, but I've been a subscriber to your channel for years. So Ryan, who's part of the NADRO community, has actually been my subscriber for years. He really liked the How to Read a DOM video, and he also mentioned about a journaling video. And I owe this to him because he's like, I hope you represent me well. You represent us well on doing a review of NADRO. And to be fair, my intentions aren't to represent them well. It's to let you guys, let my people know how I truly feel about something, because for me, I'm not trying to collect credits. While it might be nice and I can use that for mentoring, and then at a later time I can use the credits I get from you guys who also get a great savings. I can use my credits to do the mentoring and then later tell you guys about it, and that might get me to the next level, and then I'll start producing even more awesome content because they help me get to another level. Full circle here, guys. But my intentions weren't to represent them well to get credits. I want to tell you guys the honest truth about it, and I really enjoyed the product. I also bought an intensive before I bought the intensive when I bought NADRO, and it was their first intensive, I believe. So I bought NADRO, watched NADRO, and immediately started doing the intensive. And what Ryan also liked was that I actually bought and went through the material, because he had a lot of affiliates who hadn't gone through the material and they just wanted credits. And I was one of the first guys to actually get this deal. So the Fat Cat code, guys, and I'm not putting this in the description because I want you guys to actually watch this review to get it, because I don't want people abusing the code, you know, and getting these awesome discounts. Those of you who watched this up to this point, you're the ones who get the code because they need to make their money, right? So we had a really good conversation. He sent me a free sweater and hat and t-shirt. I should have fucking wore the hat. I was going to put it on for this review, but I fucking forgot. I'm sorry, Ryan, if you're watching this. I know you're watching this. I forgot. I apologize. But I want to talk about the intensives because Ryan was also very generous to give me an intensive for free. You know, $1,500. I don't know the price, but it was a lot of money for free. Because when we were on that conversation, he gave it to me for free because I told him I was going to do this for him. I just, that intense, I mean, I really appreciate what they've done for me, right? So what was awesome about the second intensive is Merritt was showing his fills, which we didn't see really on the first intensive. Now, I do want to sidestep and talk about Merritt's trading style a little bit. What's interesting is the way he trades a lot of contracts in his areas, and he's adding into areas and taking off, and it's almost this adding into winning areas and kind of adding into positions that might be going against him slightly, but it's called campaigning. And most of us aren't going to be able to trade like that unless you might start trading micros. Campaigning might be a method. But it's a very interesting method, and he does move a lot of contracts, and he makes some fucking money. Like he's on a whole nother level. Like the fucking money he makes is ridiculous compared to what I can do. So, and the way he campaigns is just something I would love to learn how to do and shit at some point, because my style is going to be limited on size at some point because of how aggressive and scalpy and all in I am. And with my style of trading, there's a point where I'm just not going to be able to get filled, that I'm going to have to learn how to campaign at some point. But, it's just very interesting what's going on. And you don't really hear too much about the traders on his desk, but, Ryan and I had a really good conversation, and he told me some of those traders make some fucking money on the desk. There's some really insane guys on the desk. So as far as I'm concerned, the desk is real because some people question it. And the NADRO system works because I see it work for other guys who are using it exactly the way it's supposed to be used. And I've used many components of it. While my trading is very unique in me, it's definitely taken me to the next fucking level for sure. So hands down, out of everything I've shared, while it's on the higher end of stuff, and I think John Grady is the best bang for the buck, the problem with the John Grady stuff is that's very order flow stuff. That's very bonds. But if you're trying to learn that stuff and you're going that way, that might be the way to go. But if you want an A to Z system and setups with Edge, nothing I've gone through has been the NADRO system. The intensives are pretty fucking awesome as well to just kind of experience that. Much like when I went through the John Grady stuff a second time, I got a lot from it. Same thing with the NADRO stuff. When you go through the intensive a second time, you're going to get a lot more from it the second time you go through it. And I really do believe going through NADRO a second time after doing my trading for so long, I'm going to see stuff I didn't see before and get more from it. And I wish I would have done that before this video, but I didn't. So that is where I am now at this point. I've not bought anything else. I really don't plan on buying anything else. I would like to start getting more into getting coaching for myself or mentoring from people that are on a whole nother level. So I believe that where I'm at in my trading, that's where I need to go next. And that's where I plan on spending money. But the amount of knowledge and the things I've cultivated from spending, almost $12,000, that's stuff I would have never got
just trading and trying to figure it out on my own. So to go back to the original video, are courses worth it? Yeah, they absolutely are. And a lot of things I share on my channel is because I've spent this kind of money and gotten this kind of knowledge and stuff. And I try to be very careful, and I'm really respectful of these other guys that I don't share the shit they do, right? The things that I share is very much fat cat. So, and even I don't share everything I'm doing on a deeper level. So, I mean, it's just kind of interesting to go from nothing and just to end up creating my own identity. And this is something I've always heard from more experienced traders, that you shouldn't be copying another trader. You need to become your own unique trader and create your own identity. And I've done that. And it's interesting to see how these other things have built onto me over time and have complemented my trading and maybe the little lessons I've learned from them. And just, I don't know. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know that was an extremely long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it the way it was presented, because it needed to be presented from A to Z in a story format, so that way you could understand it better. I think just reviewing this stuff as is you would have been missing context, and it just wouldn't be as good. And now you know a little bit more about me, which is great, right? So again, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I put a lot of work into it. Please like and subscribe. And if you do decide to buy NADRO, tell Ryan you came from my channel. He'll see the code and shit, but just send him a fucking email as well, man. I'm sure he would love to see that. So, guys, until the next one, we'll see you in the next video. Until then, check out some of my older videos.